A ratio is when we do part of something. So there are a couple ways how we write ratios. We can write the words A to B. We can write A colon B or A over B. Either of these, the way we always read them is A to B. Notice how the word the part before A, I mean before two, the part before the word two is what goes on top of the fraction. Like if we're gonna write it in fraction, and whatever comes after the word two goes at the bottom. So the first number goes on top, the second number goes at the bottom. The important thing on ratios, the one very important thing on ratios is that we have the same measurements. So for example, I have the ratio of 5 hours to 3 hours. I'm talking about hours. I'm talking about the same measurement. So the way I'm going to write this, I'm going to go 5 over 3. If you can simplify the fractions, please do so. So 5 over 3, remember the first number goes on top, the second number goes at the bottom. What separates them is the word 2. But once again, I said the same measurement, hour and hour. Now, my second example, I have the ratio of 6 hours to 3 days. So different measurement. Make sure you change everything to begin with to the same measurement. Between hours and days, the smallest thing is hours. So I'm going to go for hours. So I'm going to look at this as 6 hours to 72 hours. Right? 3 days, there's 24 hours in a day. 3 times 24, that's 72. So I'm looking at hours with hours. So to begin with, I'm going to go 6 over 72. Remember, say measurement. But then if you can simplify the fraction, please do so. In my case, I'm going to divide each by 6. So I have a 1 on the top. 72 divided by 6 gives me 12. So my answer should be 1 over 12. Once again, ratios, make sure they have the same measurement. Now, when we go to the store, we usually see something and we're looking for what's the better deal. So for here, the supermarket charges the following prices for a jar of extra crunchy peanut butter. Which size is the best buy? And then the operations we can do. If I'm looking at the first price, there's two operations we can do. We could go 3.49 divided by 18, or we could go 18 divided by 3.49. People might ask, well, what's the difference between them? The important number is what's the number at the bottom. Since the measurement of the first one, the measurement is ounces at the bottom, so the operation here is going to tell me how much is 1 ounce. On my second operation, the money is the number at the bottom, so it will tell me that this operation, 18 divided by 3.49, tells me how many ounces I buy with $1. So the measurement at the bottom is very important. Once again, on the first one, this operation, 3.49 divided by 18, will give me the price of 1 ounce. If I put the dollar at the bottom, it's going to give me the measurement of ounces with $1. So let's take a look. Here it says which size is the best buy. So I want to know how much is 1 ounce. So from the first operation, I'm going to go 3.49 divided by 18. All right, the measurement of ounces, I have it at the bottom because I want to know how much is 1 ounce. If I do 3.49 divided by 18, I'm going to get about 0.19. So what that's telling me is 1 ounce, I buy it for 19 cents. If I look at the second operation, once again, I want to know how much is 1 ounce. So I'm going to go 4.99 divided by 28. So 4.99 divided by 28. And it tells me each measurement, each ounce is going to be about 0.18. I am rounding some decimals in here because when we deal with money, we run it to two decimal places. So I take a look at the third number. As a matter of fact, when I did this on my calculator, it gave me 0.1782 and some more numbers. I look at the third number because it's 5 or more. It pushed this other number up. So that's why I call it 0.18. Now, for my last operation, I want to know how much is 1 ounce. So I'm going to go 6.79 divided by 40. Remember, I want to know how much is 1 ounce. So make sure ounces is at the bottom. So I'm gonna go 6.79 divided by 40, and it gives me, after around some decimal numbers, it gives me 0.17. So each ounce is 17 ounces. It's 17 cents. So here, which size is the best buy? I'm gonna go with the 40 ounces because I'm paying 17 cents per ounce. If I have put the dollar at the bottom, it's how much do I get per dollar? I was looking for the bigger number then, because then that will give me the bigger amount of ounces. I explain a little more of this in class, but let's move on now. This thing froze for a minute. Okay, yeah, this thing froze for a minute, but let me wait. Oh, there you go. All right, so the next slide we have solve a proportion. So first, let's start with a simple proportion. Proportion we call when two fractions are equal to each other. One thing that we can do, we can simplify our numbers. And afterwards we're gonna multiply it. We're gonna multiply diagonal 5 times 63 and x times 9. The way we multiply is the only way we cannot simplify. So, but first let me do this. I'm just gonna cross multiply it. It doesn't matter which one you do first. I'm gonna do the 9 times x. 9 times x gives me 9x. 5 times 63. Let me use that calculator for that. 5 times 63. It gives me 315. To get the x by itself, let me divide both sides by 9, right? Because that way I get rid of the 9 in front of the x. Because 9 divided by 9 is 1x. All right, now 315 divided by 9 gives me 35. Once at the very beginning I said the way we multiplied is the only way we cannot simplify. So we could have simplified the 9 and the 63. Side to side, we can simplify. And for me to simplify, let me divide each number by 9. So this is 1, this is 7. Now if you notice when I cross multiplied, 1 times x is x, 5 times 7 is 35. So it gives me the same result, it's just that I'm dealing with smaller numbers. So if you can simplify before you multiply it, I will suggest you do it. Then some operations and your proportions, you're gonna have a plus or minus in there. The only difference with them is when you cross multiplied, in this case this 5, make sure you multiply it to both. So I'm gonna go 5 times m, which gives me 5m, 5 times 1. Notice I put a plus in between it because that's what the sign that it had. So I went 5 times m and 5 times 1. Now I'm going to let this equal to, now in this other operation, I'm going to multiply the 3, 3 times m, which is 3m. There's a minus in there, so I'm going to put a minus, and 3 times 2 gives me 6. Now, we learned already how to simplify for letters, how to solve for a letter. So I'm going to get rid of the 3m. I'm going to move it to the left as a minus 3m. I'm going to get rid of this 5, and I'm going to move it to the right as a minus 5. Whatever moves from one side to the other side, you switch the sign. 5m minus 3m, that gives me 2m. Negative 6 and a negative 5, that gives me negative 11. So to get rid of the 2, let me divide both sides by 2 to get the m by itself. I'm going to get m is equal to negative 11 over 2. My answer is a fraction in this case, but we can deal with fractions. Let's take a look at this. This is the reason why we have proportions. After Leanne pumped 5 gallons of gas, the display showing the price read $15.50. So let's take a look. Let me write 5 gallons of gas. So I'm going to use 5G was equal to, dollars wise, I'm going to write 15.50. Now, when she finished pumping the gas, the price displayed read $14.95. How many gallons did she pump? I'm going to make this into proportion, so I'm going to write as a fraction. I'm going to write X gallons because I have no idea how many gallons. So I'm going to put X because I don't know the price. X gallons equals $44.95. Now let me cross multiply it. Let me cross multiply this way. 15.50 times X, it just gives me 15.50X. But now this other way, 44.95 times 5 gives me 224.75. Before I continue, I want to highlight that here in my fraction I kept gallons with gallons and here dollars with dollars. Now remember I cross multiplied. Now to get the X by itself, I should divide both sides by 15.50, which is the number in front of the X, because that way I get the X by itself. So 224.75 divided by 15.50, it gives me 14.5. So that means she pumped 14.5 gallons. That's why we do proportions. And then for percentages, we can do the same thing. Solve each problem. One proportion I'm going to give you guys is the proportion is over of. Is the part, of is the complete thing. Is over of is equal to percent over 100. This might sound like mumbo jumbo right now, but the thing is that your questions, you can break it up always into is, of, and percent. If I look at my first question, what is 15% of 600? What is, so I don't know my is, 15%, I do know my percent, of 600. So when it comes to is over of, I'm going to go x over 600. Notice for is I wrote x because I don't know what is. So x over 100, x over 600 equals 15 over 100, right? Percent over 100. I also mentioned before I can simplify 600 and 100. I can simplify side to side. Let me divide each by 100. So this is 6, this is 1. Now let me cross multiply. X times 1, which is x, 15 times 6, which is 90. So that's my answer. What is 15% of 600? 90. Now if I take a look at my example B, 32%, so I know my percent, of what number, so it seems like I don't know my of, is 64. So remember, is over of, I'm going to go 64 over x equals 32 over 100. You can cross multiply whenever you wish, right? 32 times x, 64 times 100, and then divide by the number in front of the x, in this case 32. That's what you can do anytime, but you can always simplify as well. 32 and 64, right? Side to side, I'm going to divide each by 32. So this is 1, this is 2. Now when I cross multiplied, x times 1, and then 2 times 100. Remember, you can simplify any way except the way we multiply. Since we multiply diagonal in this case, we cannot simplify diagonal. Now let's take a look at an example C. 90 is, so I know my is, what percent of 360? Remember, I have to go is over of, so I'm going to go 90 over 360. I don't know my percent, so I'm going to go x over 100. 90 over 360, let me divide each by 90, so I'm going to have 1 over 4. Once again, you can cross multiply whenever you wish. But in my case, 4 and 100 side to side, let me divide each by 4. So this is 1, this is 25. So just to make it clear, I have 1 over 1 equals x over 25 cross multiplied, and we're going to get x equals 25. So 90 is what percent of 360? 90 is 25% of 360. So is over of equals percent over 100. Now my last example for this section, a newspaper ad offered a set of tires at a sale price of 258. The regular price was 300. What percent of the regular price were the savings? So we're thinking of proportions. So the sale price was 258 and the regular price was 300. So I'm going to say 258, which is the small part. The entire is 300 is equal to x over 100. I don't know how much percent is. So the part, so this is the is over the entire part, is over of equals percent over 100. So let me figure it out. So one thing I'm going to do, first I'm going to simplify 100 and 300. Let me divide each by 100. This is 1, this is 3. Then 258 and 3, let me divide each by 3. So this is 1. 258 divided by 3 gives us 86. So just to make it clear to have 86 over 1 equals x over 1. Cross multiplied, x equals 86. So I am paying 86% of the entire bill, right? 258 is 86% of 300. So now here the question is, what percent of the regular price were the savings? I'm paying 86%, so I'm going to say the savings is 14%. Right? Out of 100, which is the entire price, I'm paying 86, so that means the discount was 14, right? 100 minus 86 gives me 14.